Kyrie Irving's journey began far from the bright lights of the NBA. Born in Melbourne, Australia, his parents, Derek and Elizabeth Irving, were living abroad while Derek played professional basketball. Before that, he'd made a name for himself at Boston University, where he was so dominant his jersey was eventually retired. But his professional career came to a close when Kyrie was just 2 years old, and the family returned to the United States, settling in West Orange, New Jersey. Back home, Kyrie's connection to basketball only grew stronger. His godfather, Rod Strickland, was a point guard in the NBA, and his father, though retired from the game, became his first and most consistent coach. Kyrie quickly developed a deep love for basketball. He spent hours outside with his dad, sharpening his skills, and when he wasn't playing, he was watching footage, studying the game like a student hungry to learn. That drive might have been natural, but part of it was rooted in pain. When Kyrie was just 4 years old, his mother passed away. The loss left a hole in his heart, but it also created a bond between him and his father that was unbreakable. Derek became everything: parent, coach, mentor. And from that heartbreak came a fire that Kyrie carried with him every time he stepped onto the court. As a young kid, Kyrie had a surprising twist in his story. Though he was naturally left-handed, he was forced to become right-handed. That shift gave him a unique ambidexterity that would later become part of his signature style. By the time he reached grade school, he was already ahead of most kids his age. But Kyrie didn't just want to be good. He wanted to be great. He made a promise to himself, writing it on his closet wall: "I will make it to the NBA." His father supported that dream with everything he had. Every weekend, Derek would drive Kyrie into New York so he could play against top-tier competition. The pressure was relentless. Every game brought full-court defense and tough opponents, but instead of folding, Kyrie got better. He had no choice. Either he'd learn to control the ball against the best, or he'd get run off the court. Those early years shaped his mentality. There were setbacks, including a heated argument with his father that led to him stepping away from the game after his freshman year of high school. But the love for basketball never truly left him. When he transferred to St. Patrick's High School in his junior year, a daily 2.5-hour commute, Kyrie made a decision. He was going all in. The school had one of the best programs in the country, and he was ready to prove himself on the national stage. By the time Kyrie Irving reached his senior year at St. Patrick's High School, he wasn't just playing well, he was dominating. Despite transferring late and enduring a brutal commute each day, he quickly became the heart of one of the top basketball programs in the country. He played with unmatched confidence and creativity, and recruiters started to take notice. The Division I offers poured in, and Kyrie's lifelong dream was finally within reach. But with recognition came resistance. After leading his team to a state championship in his junior year, Kyrie and St. Patrick's were suddenly banned from competing in the postseason during his senior season. The reasons were murky, tied up in politics and alleged recruiting violations, but the result was clear. Kyrie was being blocked from finishing his high school career on the biggest stage. Still, he didn't let it stop him. That year, he was named co-MVP of the Jordan Brand Classic alongside Harrison Barnes, and he led Team USA to a gold medal at the FIBA Americas U18 Championship. The next step was Duke University, where he'd play under legendary coach Mike Krzyzewski. Expectations were sky-high, and in the opening games, Kyrie delivered. He was explosive, skilled, and poised beyond his years. But just as quickly as his college stardom rose, disaster struck. A toe injury sidelined him after just 11 games, an injury so severe it nearly ended his season. Critics began to question his durability. They called him overrated. They said he lacked the size and athleticism to compete at the next level. But Kyrie wasn't listening. Instead, he used the doubt as fuel. He rehabbed, returned just in time for March Madness, and then declared for the NBA draft. Despite playing only a handful of college games, he was selected with the #1 overall pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers, a franchise reeling after LeBron James' departure and in desperate need of a new face of the team. The pressure on Kyrie was immense. He was expected to revive a broken team, to fill the shoes of the greatest player the city had ever known. But from the moment he stepped onto an NBA court, it was clear he was different. In just his first month, he delivered one of the most jaw-dropping performances of the season, a 30-point explosion against his hometown team, the New Jersey Nets. His handle was electric. His confidence was off the charts. And most importantly, he was fearless. In the games that followed, Kyrie began to stack highlights like a veteran. A game-winning spin move and left-handed layup against the Celtics. A clutch fourth quarter to beat the Nuggets. By the end of the season, he was averaging 18.5 points, 5.4 assists, and shooting nearly 40% from three. That earned him Rookie of the Year honors and a spot on the USA Select Team, a group of young stars tasked with training against the Olympic squad. It was a moment of validation, but Kyrie wasn't satisfied. His motivation ran deeper than stats. It came from watching and learning from his idols, especially one, Kobe Bryant. Kyrie idolized Kobe's work ethic, his mentality, and his complete mastery of the game. And soon, that admiration would become mentorship. In just his second season, Kyrie's numbers jumped again. He was named an All-Star, hit another game winner against the Raptors, and became known across the league as one of the most skilled point guards in the game. But the Cavaliers as a team were falling apart. Injuries, internal drama, and poor records led to chaos in the locker room. Kyrie, still only 21, was being called a diva by the media. Critics questioned his leadership. Some wondered if he could ever carry a team to real success. Then everything changed with one phone call. Coach Mike Brown had returned to the Cavs and brought with him Phil Handy, a renowned player development coach who'd worked with Kobe. Handy saw the raw skill in Kyrie, but also noticed something missing. Kyrie was obsessed with playing, not practicing. He loved the game, but he wasn't yet mastering the craft. When Handy pointed it out, Kyrie brushed it off. So Handy called someone who Kyrie would listen to, Kobe Bryant. That conversation would alter the course of Kyrie's career. By his third season in the NBA, Kyrie Irving had silenced nearly every critic. His game was smooth, electric, and unpredictable. He wasn't just an elite point guard, he was a magician with the ball. But while his individual talent was undeniable, the Cavaliers still struggled to win games. Their record was abysmal. The locker room was full of tension. And behind the scenes, Irving was battling injuries and frustration. The media started painting him as selfish. They said he couldn't lead. They claimed he didn't make his teammates better. That kind of talk stung. Kyrie had spent his whole life dreaming of this moment, only to find himself doubted by the same people who once praised his talent. Something had to change, not just in his game, but in his mindset. That's when Coach Phil Handy entered the picture. A development coach with championship experience in Los Angeles, Handy had worked with Kobe Bryant and saw flashes of the same relentless spirit in Kyrie. But he also saw that Kyrie was too focused on playing one-on-one matchups, pickup games, flair. What he lacked was a focus on discipline, refinement, and detail. Kyrie didn't immediately buy in. So Handy made a call to Kobe himself. The legend didn't hesitate. He saw the talent. He understood the pressure. And more than anyone, he understood what Kyrie was going through. From that moment on, Kyrie had a mentor who had been through the fire and come out with championships. Their conversations weren't just about basketball, they were about greatness. Kobe told Kyrie that leadership isn't given, it's earned through pain, sacrifice, and growth. That advice stuck with him, and it showed in the next season. Kyrie began to evolve. He focused harder. He trained smarter. And the results came fast. He was named an All-Star, scored multiple 40-point games, and in one unforgettable night against the San Antonio Spurs, dropped a career-high 57 points. The message was clear. Kyrie Irving was no longer just a highlight reel. He was a problem. But the real shift came in the summer of 2014, when everything changed in Cleveland. LeBron James, the franchise's former king, returned home. He wasn't coming alone either. The Cavaliers traded for All-Star forward Kevin Love, creating a new big three in the East: LeBron, Love, and Kyrie. Expectations went through the roof. Suddenly, the pressure wasn't just on Kyrie to be a star, it was on him to deliver a championship. The early part of the season had its bumps. Kyrie had to learn how to play alongside the most dominant player in the league. He had to adjust to a new offensive system. But it didn't take long for the chemistry to build. Kyrie began to shine in moments that mattered most. He played with fire, hitting game winners, and carving up defenses with ease. He showed he could coexist with greatness, and that he was capable of it himself. Then came one of his signature moments, a showdown with the Spurs late in the season. The Cavaliers were trailing, and Kyrie took control. He attacked the basket with purpose, hit tough shots from all angles, and forced overtime. But in OT, he went supernova, dropping clutch shot after clutch shot until he finished with 57 points and the win. It was the kind of performance legends are made of. The Cavaliers ended the regular season with 53 wins and the second seed in the East. The playoffs arrived, and with them came more adversity. In the second round against the Bulls, Kyrie was battling a foot injury, but he kept pushing through. After consulting Kobe again, he delivered a gutsy 25-point performance in Game 5 to help swing the momentum. Eventually, Cleveland powered through to the NBA Finals. It was the moment Kyrie had been preparing for his whole life. But fate had other plans. In Game 1 against the Warriors, Kyrie collided knees with Klay Thompson and immediately knew something was wrong. He limped off the court and never returned. A fractured kneecap ended his finals and his season. Without him and without Kevin Love, the Cavaliers fought hard, but fell short. Watching from the sideline, Kyrie was devastated. But instead of retreating, he made a promise. He would come back better, stronger, smarter. Because he wasn't finished, not even close. The injury in the 2015 NBA Finals should have broken him. For most players, Missing out on the biggest stage of their life would be a devastating blow. But for Kyrie Irving, it became fuel. While the Golden State Warriors celebrated their championship, Kyrie was already planning his comeback. He turned to Kobe again, this time not just for basketball advice, but for something deeper, perspective. The message was clear: greatness isn't just about talent. It's about how you respond when everything falls apart. The 2015 to 2016 season began with Kyrie watching from the bench as he recovered from knee surgery. Meanwhile, the Warriors were rewriting history, winning 73 games and breaking the all-time regular season record. Steph Curry was crowned unanimous MVP. Golden State looked unbeatable. But Kyrie had been waiting. When he finally returned to the lineup, the Cavaliers took shape. LeBron led the charge, but Kyrie was the engine, slicing through defenses, hitting impossible shots, and using his now legendary ball handling to control the pace of the game. The Cavaliers stormed through the playoffs. Kyrie was peaking at the perfect time. Then came the rematch, Cleveland versus Golden State in the 2016 NBA Finals. This time, the odds were even worse. The Warriors were up 3-1 in the series. No team in NBA history had ever come back from that. But Kyrie didn't flinch. Alongside LeBron, he delivered one of the greatest finals performances of all time. In Game 5, both stars scored 41 points. In Game 6, Kyrie added 23 more. And in Game 7, with everything on the line, he called for the ball. The score was tied at 89. Shot clock winding down. He stepped back over Steph Curry and buried the three. It was the shot that gave Cleveland its first ever NBA title. The championship solidified Kyrie's place in history. He had done what most never would. But just as the basketball world expected him to ride that high, Kyrie began to feel the weight of expectations again. He wanted more than to be the second option. He wanted his own team, his own legacy. In 2017, he requested a trade from Cleveland. He landed in Boston, a historic franchise with a young, talented core. Early on, things looked perfect. The Celtics went on a 16-game win streak, and Kyrie had 18 games with 30 or more points. But once again, injury struck. Kyrie needed another knee procedure and missed the playoffs. Boston, without their stars, came one game away from the finals. And just like that, the media began questioning him again. The 2018 to 2019 season was full of tension. The chemistry broke down. Kyrie struggled to lead a locker room full of young stars. The team fell apart in the playoffs, and the blame came down on him. That summer, he made a decision that changed everything. He signed with the Brooklyn Nets. He returned home, this time teaming up with Kevin Durant. Expectations soared, but the road only grew more complicated. Injuries, controversy, and personal decisions kept Kyrie in the headlines. He chose not to get vaccinated during the 2021 to 2022 season, which led to him being ineligible for home games due to New York regulations. The media turned on him. Sponsorships were lost. Even his relationship with the league was strained. But on the court, he never stopped performing. He dropped 50 in his first game as a Net. He averaged over 27 points, 5 assists, and shot elite percentages across the board. His talent never wavered. Still, he asked for a trade again. This time, he landed in Dallas. Teaming up with Luka Doncic, Kyrie found something different: balance. The Mavericks built a team around their two stars and trusted Kyrie's leadership. Despite early struggles, the 2024 season saw the Mavs come alive. Mid-season trades for Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington and the emergence of Derek Lively II turned Dallas into a serious contender. Kyrie delivered when it mattered most: 30 points to eliminate the Clippers, 36 against Minnesota to win the West. Back in the NBA Finals, this time against his former team, the Celtics, Kyrie reflected on his journey. From a young kid in New Jersey writing his dream on a closet door to one of the most polarizing and electric players of his generation. He didn't win the 2024 championship. Boston took the title. But for Kyrie, something more important happened. He found peace. He became a voice for others. A leader who inspires not just through skill, but through resilience, honesty, and heart. His career isn't over. The story is still being written. But no matter what happens next, one thing is clear: Kyrie Irving is more than a basketball player. He's a symbol of perseverance. And that, more than anything, is why people will never forget his name.